Hi everyone, welcome to Google Webmaster's Tools for SEO Professional session. We're going to be talking about how to use Google Webmaster's Tools like a pro. What that means basically is utilizing the same data and tools available to you, but in different ways which you can utilize to your advantage and understanding a lot more about your website. So we've got some pretty heavy SEO professionals in this hangout already. I'm glad to see Rob, Tomasz, Karol, Jim is with us as well, which is nice. We've got two Australians in an Australian hangout. All right. So just the usual housekeeping rules. If your microphone is noisy, as a matter of courtesy, just start off with your microphone muted. That's to allow for everyone to be able to hear the whole hangout clearly. If you want to speak, feel free to unmute and ask a question or interrupt if something is not clear. Okay, cool. So one thing I wanted to do first is just check out our moderator page to see if there's any burning questions people wanted answered. So we'll start off with that one and then move on to the rest of the session. So the first question we had was, do many 404 errors influence SERP positions? Okay, so I think this question has been asked many times, and I think the answer is a little bit it's quite simple actually. If you're a Google and you find a website that's completely broken, would you really serve it in results? You probably wouldn't. But if you're saying that there's a large chunk of the website still holding homepage, about us, product pages, and you've got like some 10,000 old pages that existed in the past, that's a completely normal thing. Why would Google take that against you? For example, you've revamped your website, and you used to have like 10,000 old pages and some catalog and products that either expired or no longer applicable. So you decided to remove all these pages. They're returning the message that they should return, which is 404, saying I don't exist anymore. And that's a perfectly normal situation on a web. I don't think Google has rights to penalize a website just because it has 404. 404s are useful in a sense, telling that those pages no longer exist. Now, where people may confuse 404, may correlate 404, lots of 404s with drop-in rankings, is not realizing that perhaps the pages that you've deleted off your website may have had some valuable content that you no longer have, or those pages may have dropped out of Google's index for a while, and content scrapers now own that content. Even if you reinstate those pages again, they may be seen as the originator of the content. So that's another problem. And finally, probably the most major issue you could have with 404 pages, and that is that good links could have been pointing to those pages, and after you remove them, then you're no longer receiving that vote from in terms of links. So this is how people can confuse. Oh, I've got a lot of 404 pages, and now I'm not ranking, so there must be a Google penalty. It's not influence or penalty. It's just the fact that you may have lost some valuable links that are not pointing to your pages anymore. As simple as that. Has anyone in the chat had experience with lots of 404s and drop in the rankings? No, Jim's nodding. No.
Not really.
Not really. Yeah. So I think it's safe to say that 404 pages are a normal thing. However, if your website is completely dysfunctional and it provides really bad experience, then I would imagine that Google would take some sort of consideration about that. Okay, so let's jump into Google Webmaster's Tools. I'm going to do a screen share. As I promised, this will be a very practical session. So let me just open up more space here, and maybe if we do something like that. Excellent. Now we've got full screen action. All right. So we're looking at let's connect back to the original question. So if we navigate over to health, this is a good section where you can find a lot of problems with your website. Now, I'm not saying that 404 pages are not necessarily a bad thing, but you could have some weird things like soft 404s, where, for example, you could see them highlighted in here. This is probably one of the most useful sections you can use to detect whether there are problems on your website. Now, these are also recently Google's actually introduced a little bit of a revamp in this section, so you can actually identify problems. You can click and tick and mark as fixed, so the issue is no longer pestering you in the notifications there. Okay, so 404 pages are also something that I see as potential for consolidation. As I mentioned earlier, if you had a lot of links pointing into the pages that no longer exist. So, for example, a lot of links may have been pointing to this flash file here or the page, and you know, the page no longer exists. Here was one page that was like a temporary SEO challenge. We participate. I think the page got deleted. So if I want to consolidate and get some extra value out of this page, I might actually, instead of returning a 404, I might actually 301 this page to similar content or something as useful, and get that value, get that link equity point to that page to my more valuable pages. Okay, so there are many things that you can do in Google Webmaster Tools. So what I thought, we might start with some of my favorites, I think. Basically, if we look at traffic and search queries, this one is, we'll start off with some basic things first, and then move into more advanced ideas, I suppose. So first of all, when we look at this type of data, what a lot of people don't understand is that the impressions are not really your local search volume. A lot of people identify these 22,000 impressions with, oh yeah, that's the search volume for that keyword. This is only true if you're basically ranking on the first page for everything, and pretty close, not even true, and we're looking at, you know, consistent behavior for that particular search term. Should this, as we can see, average position here is 30, which is not necessarily always true. So if you want to get more accurate data, you can always use these filters. So for example, we can select web instead of video or images, because you get very different ranking positions for those. So we can select web, or maybe United States, or, you know, Australia. If your website is not operating towards a specific geolocation, you just leave all locations in. Additional thing you can do is you can filter out any queries that provide insignificant amount of traffic to or clicks to the site. You can filter them out by selecting show me only where I got at least 10 plus. And of course, you can star your favorite queries on the side, and you can click this and you can only see those really interesting phrases that you always want to keep an eye on. And remember, there's always containing and not containing, so you can exclude certain terms. For example, the brand of this website is analogic, so I don't want to see what I rank for anything to do with analogic, so I can filter that out, so not containing analogic. So if I apply this, I'm getting a filtered list. I'm no longer seeing the brand in there, and by applying this filter, we can see that our impressions have changed. So we're looking at potentially, you know, something like 4,000 other searches, including you know, images and videos and so forth, and we're seeing a more realistic average position. So back to the impressions. Impressions basically mean how many times has your website been seen in the search results for that particular search term. And clicks is how many times have people clicked out of that many impressions. So this is visibility on the search pages, and this is clicks. One thing to mention is this is aggregate impressions. So if your page appears one day on the first page and then second page, they'll take consideration over a period of time. Currently, you can download 1 month or around roughly 30 days full data with Google Webmaster Tools. You can dig deeper and get nearly 3 months or about 3 months worth of data, but without the change parameters, and I'll get into that a little bit later. So we're looking at 600 clicks over 18,000 impressions. Our click-through rate is 3% on the basis that we're average position 4.9. Now, this is the type of data that I like to play with, and I like this a lot because Google now allows you to download this table, or you can download the chart data as well. Basically, but another thing that I mentioned earlier is change parameters. This is going a little bit more advanced, still pretty basic. So we're seeing that there's a drop in the impressions for that particular search term. This could be any number of factors, but this is change appears if so. For example, for a phrase acid trip, we're seeing 90 clicks, which is 29% more than the previous period reported. Click-through rate here is 2%, and it has grown by 0.4 for that period, and the average position has grown by 0.4 as well. So basically, change parameter tells you how you're progressing. Now, with this data is something that webmasters and search engine optimization companies should be relying on more so than scraping Google's results. Scraping Google's results is not really in line with Google's recommendations and guidelines, but I think this data is good enough. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is not accurate. I'm actually number 4, not 5. But we have to remember that phrases do fluctuate, and they show in different positions. There is no such thing these days as the absolute ranking position, and I think having an average position is good enough. If we drill down deeper into each phrase, we're going to see which pages are ranking for that particular search term. This could be one page or more pages as well. So one thing that is probably worth clarifying is that we've got, sorry, I think I'm getting a little bit of noise somewhere. So if your microphone is not mute, please do. Okay. So back to this screen here. Google used to calculate the average position based on all ranking assets. And this is one thing that a lot of webmasters don't understand when this actually changed over. So currently, if you have electronic music here, and this particular position is aggregate position, average position across all ranking pages. In this case, it is one page, but let's see if we have something that has few pages that are ranking. Let's see. Okay, in this case, we've got 3 potential URLs that rank. They could all have different CTRs. They could all have different impressions. But what Google is doing now, when they're reporting the average position, they're factoring in the highest ranking asset. And this is useful to us because we can now see the highest ranking position. We can do some interesting modeling and calculations on the basis of this. Okay, so one thing I wanted to actually show you while we're here is what I do with this sort of data. So if we consider phrase, its impressions and clicks, and the click-through rate, and we know the average position, what we can do is we can use Excel or script to calculate averages for that particular website. This is just a tool that we've developed to make the job a little bit easier for us, but basically what it does, I can click here, and it tells me that if I rank number 1 for this particular website, I will get 36%. of clicks from the first page of Google's results. So rank 2, 23%, rank 3, 18%, and so forth. The statistics are pretty high, so the accuracy of this data is very good. So we've looked 7,788 ranking phrases to factor in this percentage. So you understand that this data is not some academic study that shows how many people click on the first result. This is for your very own website. Okay, so what we do then is we also have an adjustment to this, because some terms may actually rank higher or lower than the website's average and the website's norm. So what we do with this, we actually factor in if, for example, if somebody searches for analogic, and we are the brand called analogic, the click-through rate from results might be very, very high. So that's abnormally high in comparison to the averages of the rest of the website. So what we do is we actually modify this value and adjust the click-through rate towards that particular phrase. Now what this allows us to do is basically to say, okay, for let's see, trans festivals, this is the search volume, we're ranking number 6. What would happen if we were to move a certain number of positions up? So we can basically calculate the impact. So our current clicks are 16. If we move one up, we'll be getting 29. If we're number 2, 35. If we're on the top spot, first result, we'll get 58. Now, of course, this is a very sort of obscure search term, but if we look at something a bit more searched, 22,000 impressions, we can see how movement in position can actually impact the traffic you'll be receiving. So current clicks are 600. Keep in mind, this is averages. This is a bit like analytics. Analytics was never meant to give us, Google Analytics was never meant to give us absolute truth about the statistics, about the, if you want absolute truth, you turn to your log files, right? So a little bit similar to that, this gives you Google Webmaster Tools data, and export gives you the averages. So using this calculation, we can see if we move one position up, we can get 704 clicks. If we are number 3, if we're number 2, so if we're top spot, we know we'll be getting around 3,600 clicks. We've used this calculation methodology for a while, and the outcomes is not always the same. Sometimes it lets us down. You may get 5,000, you may get 2,000 out of this prediction. But what this does, and what I'm trying to explain today, is that you can use Google Webmaster Tools data in this form to export it and model it and prioritize your activities. Basically, if you find one phrase that, on the basis of the average click-through rate for your website, that phrase can progress much more than the other phrase or the other page, doesn't that mean that you should be focusing on that particular page? So what you can do is you've identified a particularly useful phrase. Say, for example, I'm just going to put trans festivals in here. And I'm going to search for a phrase, trans festivals. Hit apply. So these are all the phrases that this website has been found for that are to do with trans festivals. And this is another exciting part for me. Each one of these phrases, you can actually see all the ranking assets, right? And you can actually download that table as well. With this data, you can determine what are your highest ranking pages for that particular search term. Now, what I like to do when I figure out this sort of data, okay, I found one page that ranks, second page that ranks, third page that ranks, and they're all ranking for that same search term. What I like to do is think about, okay, why am I having internally competing pages that are sort of splitting up my marketing efforts? Then I consider, should I maybe merge these 3 ranking pages into a single asset, canonicalize everything? That way, it'll make my link building efforts easier. It'll make my content generation easier. I'm not splitting up my effort into three areas. So that's just one example of how I can think about, using the data that you extract from Google Webmaster's tools, the search queries part, to sort your own activities and prioritize your own activities. So I made some notes here that might help us move on, but I'm just wanting to get a little bit of feedback. Has everyone understood what I was explaining here in the chat? Yep, everyone's nodding. Is there anyone that didn't understand? No. Okay, that's good. There is an article that I will post later on that explains in a little bit of a greater detail what this actually is. I did run a few sessions about this calculation method in the past, so there are even recordings that you can watch that go into a little bit more detail. There's one comment here. Can you do Control plus to enlarge the content of the page? Oh. Is this a little bit better? Let's see, screen share. How's that? That's better. Okay, excellent. All right. Next part is, I guess, finding problems with your website. I mean, this is a little bit of an area that a lot of people already do and understand. What I like to do with this is pretty much part of your health. So I like to go into my crawl errors and identify, is there anything that I can fix. So basically, I download all my broken pages and I analyze them. But everyone can do that, but one thing you can also do is find out what's linking into this page. So you can basically run this list against tools like Open Site Explorer, Majestic, and query these pages to determine how many links and how much PageRank or MozRank or link equity with these pages getting. Are they valuable to you? Should you be 301ing them and so forth? Okay. So one thing, let's go back to the configuration of the site. So for the sites that are sort of ambiguous, a little bit ambiguous, like .com, you can always specify your main version, and you can specify your target audience. But with websites like we in Australia don't have that much of that choice. If your TLD is .com.au, the target will always be Australia. Okay, so one thing people always, very often ignore is the site links. You can quite easily find, if you don't like a site link for your website, say for example, if I search for whoops, this has actually brought up the website. Okay. So what are the important things for you to show up in here? If you're not wanting a particular article, pan-pot interview, is this really that important to us? So contact us about us advertising. If this particular URL is not so interesting, you can basically get that URL, place it in here, and click demote, and that will add it to the list. For example, that's one that I previously added. I didn't want this page to be emphasized in any way. One other area that is quite exciting and a little bit dangerous. I'm not going to go into too much depth on this one because Miley Oya did a fantastic video on this, and is something that you should all watch. I'll post a link to her video. Basically says, if you know what you're doing here, go and touch things, but if you're not sure, better let Google to make up their own mind about how they're going to handle your website. So in a nutshell, what this does is basically allows you to understand all your tags and specify how Google should be treating them. For example, a particular tag might have a purpose of just changing your background color, which doesn't really change the content of the page. So what you can do is basically, okay, here's a tag. I can go edit on this one, and the main question that it asks you, does this change the page content? Yes, no. So basically this guides you through the whole process. Why you would want to do this is to give Google a hint as to which parameters can be safely ignored, or so because they're not actually changing the outcome of the page. And this is helpful for Panda related issues, and that is when you have too many URLs in Google's index and Google's a little bit confused as to how it should be handling. Of course, before you do all this, I always advise to canonicalize all your URLs and or 301 if where applicable. Let's quickly go over some of the basic features. So change of address basically allows you to go and change when you're migrating a website. One thing that we're currently unsure about, and we'll be checking with Google on the next Hangout, which is actually tomorrow. What happens if you redirect everything except for a few pages, and what happens if a home page redirects to a subpage of the new website if you're not migrating, if you're merging two domains? Do you guys know actually about this? I'm wondering, maybe Rob would have an idea about this.
Not on that particular case, Dan. Yeah, I saw your question, but
yeah. What happens?
I'm waiting for the answer also tomorrow.
Excellent. All right, let's move on. Webmaster's tools used to be able to be used when you have access to the website, upload a file, verify yourself. Very useful feature, especially if you don't want your agency or to get access. Basically, you can specify which users are associated with this. You can users and then associates as well. Those are the users that don't have full access. So I can click here and add and associate the YouTube or Chrome Web Store account with this Google Webmasters Tools account. One of my favorite new features in Google Webmasters Tools is, of course, the index status, which allows us to have a look at what's going on with the website. As you can see here, the total number of index pages has severely dropped. Dramatic drop. What happened? We can actually discover by analyzing. It's a good idea to keep your annotations. So when you're trimming, at this point we actually trimmed a lot of pages on the website because we found that we had canonical issues and a lot of auto-generated pages as well. The advanced section, this one is really nice. You can see what Google has crawled, what Google has indexed, and what Google has not selected to include in the search or in their index. And what this means is basically these green pages not selected are the ones that they've simply ignored. Now, recently we spoke to John Mueller from Google about potential implications of this, and it seems like having not selected is not necessarily a recipe for a Panda penalty. So there's no need for panic there. It simply means that Google's found and maybe thought that these are duplicate pages and simply chose not to include them. I think they're thinking about soon including a little download function so we can actually click here and find what these not selected are. That would be really nice. So if anyone from Google is watching this now, please include this option in the next update. All right, malware. Google has not detected any malware on this site, and there should be no other way. If there's anything else, you're in trouble. Now, there's two ways you can detect problems with your website. One is by looking at this particular section, and the other one is, I think, in content keywords. Okay. Why am I saying content keywords? Is because hackers and black hats will often hack into your website and cloak. And what happened to us maybe 3-4 years ago, we had top keywords on our website saying Adobe, serial number, keygen, and such things. Yeah. So what happened? They and of course the website was further down in the results than it was. So what we did, we investigated, found those keywords in here, and we went to the website, and there was basically nothing on the website that shows those keywords. We did Control F, we looked through source code. There was absolutely nothing that we could detect. So next step, after a little bit of poking around, we went to Google's cache, and we found in the cached version, in a text-only version of the cache page, links to serial numbers and Adobe software and all these keygens and God knows what. So basically, our website got compromised, and they were injecting these links into its content, but showing it only to Googlebot, not showing it to the users, also cloaking at the same time. So basically, monitoring this section is a very good idea, because it can highlight any big changes in your content and alert you when there's a big problem. Apart from this, I like to use this to download or show as many keywords, or download this table, and this basically shows me all the keywords that are contained within the website. Kind of tells me how Google sees my website, my domain on an aggregate level, which is quite nice. Okay, Jim, you mentioning Sucuri.net is good. What is that?
If you're concerned about your site being hacked, you can go there. They'll scan your site for free, and I found them that they were really good. Nice.
Okay, I will bring it up on the screen here. Okay, so basically you just put your domain in and scan the site, and it's free?
It's free. Yeah, we had a client, and I couldn't find it anywhere. It wasn't in Google's diagnostic or anywhere, and I couldn't find the problem until I used that site, and it found it.
Nice, nice. Thanks for sharing that, Jim. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let this run and see if they find anything nasty. Hope not. All right, cool. Now I had a lot of notes, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to go through all this. But I'm going to just list a few things, and you guys can tell me. Oh, by the way, are there any questions so far? I think you all guys are pretty much professional, so this is nothing new, I imagine, in the chat. Tomasz is typing.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you look at the number of searches, queries, and you have a lot of words with say, or a lot of words, quite some queries with which are shown on average on page 500 or 700. What do you think of that? Because that would mean somebody would have been scrolling and looking for 70-page result. Is that a robot?
Let's go back to the result to the page here. So you're talking about the site traffic search queries. And you're talking about, so this one is 270, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this instance, I imagine this is image search. And
yeah, that's possible.
That's possible, and I'm not surprised. At this. So if you search for picture, I think people can scroll for like ever to get different results, right? And to find the 270th image is not surprising me, but let's say if we can filter this through to, whoops, web.
If you select on average position twice, it also shows the highest ones.
One nice feature actually that is quite handy is that you can click on average position, and it sorts it by top position. That wasn't always the case. What would happen is if you click on this again, it would show you like blank when they don't have the average position, and then you had to click like 12 times before you get to the first phrase with the ranking position. Now Google's actually fixed that. They've listened to us. They're amazing, aren't they? So they fixed this, and now it's quite handy. So we're looking at graduation. This is a website about electronic music, and it's ranking for graduation invitations, about some pretty obscure stuff. No wonder it's further down. Man mission to Mars. As you can see, there's no clicks here.
No, but it would assume something is looking at 50 pages.
Oh, this is Google's own data. They know when something ranks. I don't think they do. Like, if anything shows up in here, that's the first user. Oh, here we go. We had it on a page before. We have some minimal impressions here. Basically, 16 people searched for music websites and drilled down to the 98th result. It's pretty crazy, but the search volume is very, very, very low. And we can see that our clicks are non-existent. It's less than 10, perhaps 0.
Mm-hmm.
So all this data, when there's no impressions and no clicks and no CTR and it's some crazy position, I think that's coming just directly out of Google. I don't think it's anything to do with users. But I see your point. You're saying, why would Google be displaying this if nobody searched for it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
where are they coming from?
potentially there was 3 impressions and 1 click. I don't know. But I guess this would be useful to have the exact positions and exact impressions and clicks for very large websites where you're dealing with thousands and thousands of keywords, very long tail, because at the end of the day they accumulate up to a pretty healthy amount of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's an interesting point. I guess we can ask this. How does that data get in there if nobody's searched for it? Why is it there? My guess is maybe a few searches, I guess it says less than 10. Cool. So in my notes I had authorship monitoring, +1 social signal monitoring, rich snippet management for click-through rates, link quality control and safety, hacked website and malware, we covered that one, panda defense, index duplication, snippet site links management, we kind of touched on that. Does any of those topics sound appealing to you guys? Any votes? What we should be covering next? Any questions? Okay, cool. What I like to do with my website, sort of, or my account, really is monitor the authorship. I know that that's sort of in the labs a little bit. But author stats are pretty exciting for me. So one thing to clarify about this is not necessarily related to this particular domain that we're looking at. This is you personally, you the author, as in your account. So as you can notice, we were just on that domain now, but when you click on labs and author stats, you jump out of the website and you're in a totally new section. So basically, let's dive into as further as it'll take us. Okay. As far as it'll take us. So we're looking at the impressions and clicks data over 776 pages where I am the author.
At the moment we are looking at you then.
Oh, sorry. Well spotted. Okay. So this is the page. I might. Is this big enough? Here's another zoom in. Okay. So what I was saying is we were looking at a website before. This is a particular domain we're looking at, but if you click on labs and author stats, you're in that, what I was saying, new section which talks about you as a person and all the stuff that you've written. So what I did is just went deeper into history and found all the impressions. So this is pretty exciting stuff because it tells you that there was that many impressions for all the stuff that you've written. This is pretty pretty exciting, pretty rewarding thing to see. That your little thumbnail, your little face, your little picture in the authorship markup has been seen 2 million times. It's sort of, you know, makes me write more, and it's a bit of a rewarding metric. I wish the clicks were the same. The clicks were only 8,000, but that's still, I think, fairly decent. Now, a lot of people are talking about, you know, huge impact of the authorship snippet for click-through rates. That's not always the case, but there is some evidence to show that, you know, people would rather click on something that's been written by an author than not, because it shows, especially now that we've got the little how many circles you are in since Google Plus has been launched. We're seeing all that data in there. So one thing to keep in mind is that yes, this will show your domains, some of the things that you've written on your own stuff, but it'll also show other websites where you've written for. So, for example, this article on SEO Moz, where I was talking about why link schemes fail, for that reporting period, remember, not forever, but between May 25 and August 23, has received 22,000 impressions and 110 people have clicked on it from the results. Now, I think that position is a little bit crazy because position for what exactly? For what keyword? What, you know? So that's, I'm not sure how that is actually useful, but I guess this could have been aggregate type of data, images, and all sorts of things. But still, very, 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 very handy. Okay. Another area that I like to check from time to time is in traffic, +1 reports, search impact. This one actually tells me how much are people clicking without +1 and with +1, and I can compare. Now, for this to really bring some valid statistical data, you'd need to grab a bigger sample. Unfortunately, I keep pestering Google to allow us at least 12 months worth of data. Then you can get some really nice numbers in here. But Bing Webmaster Tools actually does that. But what can you do? In any case, you can see here that for our homepage, the click-through rate is 6% as opposed to 2% when we're dealing with people who are not logged in or not connected to me or somebody else who has +1 that particular page. Some major differences here. Again, very small numbers, so I wouldn't really be too excited about that. Another section, activity. I like to look at this one to understand what type of content that I've produced is actually social. This tells me it's another gauge of quality, because links happen slowly and they're not as quick to generate. It's very easy to hit +1 on something, you know. So if you write something really good, if you're trying to gauge if people enjoy that type of content, it's very easy to go into this section and see, oh, okay, 24 pluses on this type of content. I should probably write more of this stuff. And the odds are, if people enjoy something socially, that means that they'll probably link to it more. And we all know that links still they still rule supreme as far as search engine rankings go. search engine ranking factors go. Okay, and if you switch the tab, it'll actually show you all plus ones since the beginning of the data set. This dip here is just a bug in Google. I think everyone has that. How many people have actually had a look at this type of data in their own Webmaster Tools? Yep, Jim has. Yeah, so be interesting to see if you actually notice this dip in on your website as well. I think that would actually be the case. And the final tab here is basically the audience. Again, we've got some glitches in there, but this shows you a nice cumulative graph of pluses your content has received. This would also be nice if we could get link growth pattern in the similar way. Okay. Yeah, so Jim, let us know if you see, or anyone else who has access to their Webmaster Tools. Let us know if you see anything like that in your own account. That would be interesting to know. Okay, so rich snippet management. Who here runs like an e-commerce store, anywhere where you aggregate data or ratings or anything like that? Jim, have you played with rich snippets at all on your side?
No, I haven't, Dan. But I'm certainly thinking about it. But given the numbers of products that we've got and our other issues, I thought it might be a concern to actually. I thought it might look spammy, so I'm waiting to resolve the other issues first. I mean, I think it would have looked like I was trying too hard.
Right. I'm seeing a lot of websites who are sort of abusing the rating, little stars, and it is an effective method to grab people's attention. But I argued that authorship little markup is a lot more effective. Of course, you can't have that unless with like a product item or a movie review, something like that. So I guess we can use that where appropriate. Now, one thing I wanted to point out is the section links to your site. Do many of you actually go there and take a look at it? One. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah, there's a few people. That's like one of my top sections where I go and visit. Basically, one thing has happened recently, and that is, Jim is showing us his Webmaster Tools. No.
Sorry, mate. I'll try and figure out how to do that.
Okay. Basically, we try to understand what our top content is and how our data is linked. So I think this section is really, really good to identify what are your top pages. And I'm not just saying you do this on just like one-by-one level. You can also export all the data from the links to your site and get an amazing amount of information out of that. It's not very detailed, but the depth is there. So why am I saying this? Because what you can do with this is, let's say your website is affected by Penguin, or you have received one of those notifications where they say you have some unnatural links. I think I've got the same notification on this website. Actually, I'll show you. Yeah. So can everyone see this? Okay, so Analogy.com, unnatural inbound links, learn more. Basically says, we've detected that some of the links pointing your site are using techniques outside Google's Webmaster guidelines, blah, blah, blah. I have no idea how this site got that. It's just my hobby thing. But we had, for a long time, we had a forum, and we didn't really moderate that well. So I'm guessing what happened was, people will do things like spamming a forum and then pretty much linking to those pages that they've spammed with their own stuff. Like they might inject a link in a post or their profile, and they might be linking to those things by spamming other people or from fake websites or whatever. So as a result, your website could suffer. What's interesting about Google Webmaster Tools, one of the latest updates, is that in the links section, you can now go and download the latest links. They actually have a date attached to them. So what you can do with this is find out things as they happen. So I'm not sure about the recency of how recent the links are or how quickly they get embedded in Google Webmaster Tools, but it's definitely one of those things that you need to monitor. So you're now in author stats. Cool.
Yes, is that the right page?
No, I wanted you to go like one step back into the actual website and go into traffic and +1 reports.
Okay.
So I think if you click on home or a few arrows back, you'll be able to navigate over to that. It's a little bit clunky how they've sort of, like, they take you away from your other stuff and you can't really return to your site once you go into this section. So there it is. So just navigate over to traffic.
This one, search impact?
Yep.
Doesn't look good.
So what does this mean? I don't. Try expanding the date range a little bit further back. Go as far as it'll take you. Okay, so a little bit too far. Okay. Not much activity there actually. So what, 2 pages?
Yeah, we've only got it on our we started off with it on every page, but at that time it was tended to hang a bit, so I pulled it off. I've seen that they've made it a lot faster, so I'll put it back on. But it's only on our home page, and I think we've only got 9 +1s on it.
What about activity or audience? Maybe we see a little bit more data in there. Try all +1s.
There's all, which is all
there's not much. Yeah, yeah. For that domain anyway.
And there's that the drop you said.
Ah, yes. So there it is. So I think if you switch to audience, you'll see the same sort of thing. Yeah. So that's exactly the same pattern that I'm seeing.
Mm.
But what I had also in mind to share with you, I made this tool that actually works with. It's handy to have programmers, but like what I do is as a matter of caution, and I like to find out when somebody's mentioning me or linking. So I use quite a complex search query in addition to Google Alerts, and I query that every day. So it looks for my name, it looks for brand name, anything that I need to sort of be mindful of. It not only gives you an opportunity to connect with somebody and maybe end up with a link that way, but also can help you find bad links as well. So one thing that occurred to me is that now that Google Webmaster Tools has download links, and it has dates. You can actually use that information to start making your own database of links. So the idea behind that is to accumulate links as they happen and create a database of all the domains that are linking to you and all the pages that are linking to you, and create a system of alert for yourself to tell you when a completely new domain is linking to you for the first time, or in a separate report when a completely new page on a domain that used to link or is already linking has linked to you already. So basically what I've done is, this is a little bit too advanced, perhaps it's a whole new session, but basically what we did is we took data from Google Analytics, we took the data from raw server files, server logs, and we took initial dump from Google Webmaster Tools. Google Webmaster Tools gave us that initial bulk of data that we needed, and we aggregated everything. We created, we parsed all the data contained, and we created a database of all the links pointing in. Now this was very helpful because we were able to do a link audit, find any crazy stuff that we've done in the past that needs removing or cleaning up, any links that have been generated in recent times that look a little bit spammy. So now what happens, I have this console in front of me that I will make this product actually available public, not just now, because I've got a lot of things I can't share screen with you, sorry. But basically what it does is it alerts me on a daily basis as soon as somebody links to me. Okay, so and I think the value of that is enormous. You can find out when somebody, you can make friends, you can make people who, you know, find your brand advocates, find your content advocates, people who are sort of your true followers. And of course, spotting any bad things. The other day I found a really nasty scrape. I used one of my videos, put links to DEJAN SEO and put links to some, you know, like Xtrama or something like that. And I think we're asking for that link to be removed. Basically, what I'm saying is use Google Webmaster Tools, download the links, and monitor it for all new link instances. One way you can do this manually, and one of my colleagues does this for his own website, is use Excel and download your list of links, and then month from then download a new list and compare, run a comparison in Excel to find what the differences are. The differences between the two sheets will be your fresh links. With those fresh links, this is now a link building discussion, but with those fresh links you can do a lot of exciting things. Okay, let me see if I've got anything else that I've wanted to cover today that I may have missed. Finding problems with site errors, broken links, poor markup, meta title. I guess this is a little bit of a basic topic, but a lot of people ignore this. If you go in Google Webmaster Tools section where they find site problems, what is it called? Let me have a look. I think it's under optimization. Okay, it's called HTML improvements. So basically, I'll actually share my screen with you so it's a little bit easier to see. Okay, what you're looking at here is duplicate meta descriptions, short meta descriptions, missing title tags, duplicate title tags. Has anyone had a non-informative title tag case in their Webmaster Tools? You have. What did you have in the title? Do you remember? I did a test. I created a page on our website, and I called it untitled document. So that was our title tag. We did that on purpose, and Google put that in informative title tags. We had one in there. So basically, if your title has huge discrepancy to the page topic, that's going to appear in there. Short title tags if you have like a single word, or long title tags if it's, you know, like 300 characters. But in some cases, Google will actually rewrite your title tag if they find it's a little bit spammy. So what happens? You put, buy Nike shoes cheap, sell something. Basically, they'll just go and make up their own title to improve user experience. So if you have long title tags or not informative, that's something worth fixing. But how I use duplicate meta description, duplicate title tags is to discover duplicate content on my website as well. Basically, what you can do here is, okay, duplicate meta descriptions. Let's investigate. Let's see what's going on here. Wow, all these pages. So that basically we have one URL. That's the article, and we have this crazy tag called month: April, June, March, May. So basically, for every month, this is going to continue creating pages, and we're going to start seeing a lot more of these. I would believe that this is you're starting to go into the panda waters. I think if you have this sort of thin content and duplication, I know that duplication is not really the candidate for it, but this is starting to look a little bit suspicious. So what we should really do with this is canonicalize all these other versions towards the small.complex URL, or go into the configuration and change the site parameters, URL parameters. There it is, month. So we've got 5,796 instances of parameter month being present in there. So the right thing to do in this case would be select edit. Does this parameter change the page's content? No. In fact, I should do this now. I just saved it. Cool. Obviously, this is just a hobby website. I'm not too fussed over what happens, but being owed by an SEO, that's pretty embarrassing. I should have done this a long time ago. So I think we're about 1 hour. I might wrap up the session. Let's see if we've got any questions. I'm going to check moderator to see if there's any questions people wanted answered. No. Anyone in the chat here has a comment or a case to or show something or ask a question? Nobody.
I need to thank you for a most enlightening hour, Dan. It's been really, really good.
It's been a little bit random. I thought let's structure it a little bit. Let's have an agenda, but I sort of went where the discussion took me, I suppose. There were some sections that I didn't quite cover in this 1 hour. Rich snippet management is one of them. Link quality control and safety, we touched on that, but not as much as I'd hoped. But I think we pretty thoroughly covered a lot of stuff. I'm going to try to think about things that we didn't talk about here and write up a little bit of an article and publish it as a bit of a follow-up to what we posted on John Doherty's website. I'll share the link here with you guys. And I'm going to drop it in the comments there for the event. This is basically a first step. Guest post we did for just basically explaining Google Webmaster Tools basics, what you can do with this sort of data, and I think we're planning a bit of a follow-up to this, so it might be an excellent opportunity to add all this new exciting stuff that's happened in recent times. Was there anything else that you guys thought I've completely missed that would have been worth mentioning? I mean, we didn't talk about sitemaps and things like that. I think a lot of people have already covered that pretty well, and that's one, I guess. Okay.
Well, perhaps it's good to say that John Mueller lately said that you can depend on the links that are shown in your Webmaster Tools
Yes.
to look for links that may affect you.
Yes.
That's the only part you need to look.
I actually had that written down. It's in my notes, but I didn't talk about that, and that's really important to know. Okay, so final thing for everybody before we wrap up. When you're doing your link audit, let's say your website has been affected or you've received a notification on natural links, and you're doing a bit of a cleanup or investigation, and you're reporting back to Google web spam team for reconsideration or just a notice of what's going on. Basically, what Google said to us is that it's enough to download the links that are contained within Google Webmaster Tools. You don't have to pay any money for fancy tools. I mean, it's great to use Open Site Explorer by SEMOs, whether free or paid version, or Majestic. They're all fantastic tools, but basically what Google's saying to us, we've already given you all the tools you need to do everything you need for your website for free. If you want that extra edge and all that extra intelligence, you can use all these different tools. We're giving you already enough for you to deal with us and to deal with your problems. So what that means is that you can basically download all the links from your Webmaster Tools and analyze those. Why this is so important, so crucial, is that you don't get stuck in analyzing links that would not have affected your website's performance. And basically this means, Jim, I think I've focused on your window at some point, and you were like up there the whole time. I forgot to let the Google Hangout to change as we speak, so you might have a lot of exposure in this video. So basically, if your website's affected, if you're cleaning up, if you're about to report, to Google, use Google Webmaster Tools, download all the data, go through that data first, clean up, and use that same sheet to export and update and supply as documentation as to what you've actually done. For example, these links are all good. I don't have a problem with these. These link identified that are bad. We clean them up. They're no longer there. We 404 the page. Further on to that, there are links that you identify as bad. You've contacted the webmaster, no response. You can't do anything about that. So I think it's worth showing that proof to Google that you've actually done something about that. So you repeatedly contact the webmaster, they're not going to do anything about it. So you're at least supplying that as evidence to Google. So that's one element. The second element is no follow links are not part of the link graph. They are not going to affect your rankings. So if some of your competitors have gone out and spammed bulletin boards and blog comments and so forth, and all these links are no follow, don't spend your time on that. Don't waste your time unless it's just purely for reputation management and you don't want your brand to be associated with all this spam on the web. So basically, these are your choices. Don't worry about no follow links, and don't worry about stuff that's not in Google Webmaster Store. If you do an export from Majestic SEO or Open Site Explorer and it's got so many links, and you're cleaning these up and Google's actually ignored them or not included them, you're potentially spending time where it's not going to have as much impact. That's not to say that you shouldn't clean up all your bad links. So yeah, Rob, do you have any more comments to that, or was that pretty much? Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That was a really important point. Okay, cool. I'm going to wrap up here. We're going to stop the broadcast, and I'd appreciate if everyone drops in a note to the event post, and just let us know if you've got any feedback, thoughts about if anything was missed, and what you'd like us to talk about next. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining in, and see you next week.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you,
see you
Dan.
guys. Bye-bye.